All right, episode 0, here we are. So far, I have attempted this a few times and have released nothing but bloopers or just me failing. So what I wanna do is try to get on here and finally break down what the show's about, explain what I'm looking for, and what I wanted to do. This is not gonna be perfect. This episode is definitely not gonna be perfect. For the most part, I just wanna get out what it's about. So that's what episode 0 is. So the reason I wanna do this podcast, this show, is, going back maybe 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, I'm not sure. It just dawned on me, and it's like, because I love listening to podcasts and stuff, and there's not a big niche for, like, fatherhood or dads. There's a few shows here and there, and most of them are all, like, audio only, and so I'm kind of personally I've been phasing out kinda just, like, the audio only. I love watching the shows, the podcast shows. I think the emotion that comes with it is awesome. Getting to see the interactions with people is pretty cool. So I just kinda came with this idea. I'm like, what's important to me? What do I struggle with? And that's fatherhood in general. My own personal struggles, and it's also my favorite thing about my life. And so I wanted to kinda step out a little bit into faith here. I don't know if it's a faith calling just yet. It's something that I feel very heavy on. So I'm gonna let that kinda mold me as I go. Still moving my hands down here, so if you see my shoulders dancing, my hands moving, I'm just at a camera angle. But no, I'm just excited to put something out there. I do expect it to be raw, vulnerable, and emotional. There will be fun moments too. I don't want to drag anybody down, but personally for me, like this is going to be tough, and so even if nobody else gets anything from it, it's going to be kind of therapeutic for me. I think I have a lot of things that have been boxed up, and as I've gotten older, more mature, I realize the importance of kind of unlocking those boxes and letting things out. And I think sharing those things, we share things individually with people, and we share small moments with our tight circles, and that's perfectly fine. But I want to take a leap out here and just let it all out. It's going to be challenging. I think that's the one thing I'm going to struggle with my people that I interview and my guests is, it's a small show right now, just starting off. And so, how do I get somebody to come in here and talk to me about their life story specific to their fatherhood side of it or lack thereof? How do I get somebody to come in and share those intimate moments and be raw and real and, you know, be frustrated, be upset, and not hold back, and then be like, okay, I have to return to work tomorrow. And maybe my coworkers or people at the football game or people that in my community, they're the ones that are probably going to hear this right now. I don't think this is going to be big, widespread right now or at the top to have outreach that way. Most of my guests are going to be local or close to me, and most of the people that hear them are going to be close to them or close to me. And so I think it's just going to be challenging to get people to come out of their shell. So I want to kind of give people options of how they interact with me. Preferred, obviously, I would love to sit down with you and kind of make a little studio downstairs. Is my office where I'll do a lot of my individual stuff, but downstairs, kind of setting up a little intimate space to do the interviews and the in person stuff. Also have a software to where I can send out a link directly to your cell phone, and we can just kind of Skype remote you in. I just kind of splits the screen in half, and we do it that way. And then a third option, um, which I'm hoping people will do, and it'll kind of fill gaps when I can't get people on, is like viewer or listener letters or write-ins. They can be anonymous. It can be a completely anonymous. Excuse me. Let's break this spot. To be honest with you, I don't even know how to edit, so I'm saying break this spot. Like I'm gonna know to clip this the right way and make it flow. This may all be in there, and I'm sorry if so. This is water, by the way, but it looked more aesthetically pleasing in a coffee cup or whatever. So, anyways, I don't even know if I touched on it, but the anonymous write-ins, I think that's going to be um, a great step to get people in. That'll allow me to share your story. You can keep your name out of it. I can share my story. I can give my advice and my feedback on it, and also um, you may realize through like listener comments or feedback from other people that you're not alone, especially if it's hard stuff. Like There's so many of us that are plagued by so many things that we think that only we go through. When 9 times out of 10, there's a population of people that struggle with what we're struggling with. I really hope I can edit pretty good because I'm gonna need it here. Going on like a minute of just blankness. So let's hop into like the criteria what I'm looking for. And the easiest way to put it is there's really not one. Obviously, everybody's story is important and normal life. If you have just a regular life of fatherhood, that's important too, and we love to hear that. But if I'm just gonna go down a list and kind of name some things that I'm looking for, I think definitely I want to hear from like military dads, veterans, as well myself. Obviously, I'm curious of that dynamic, with your kids as they age and overseas, and that commitment to that type of career. What's that's like? I want to sit down with single fathers, and I don't mean single just by marital status. I mean literally you're doing alone without their mother. I want to talk to dads that maybe have 4 or 5 girls, and you're just a girl dad. Definitely want to hear your feedback. I'm sure there's a lot of us out there that would love advice. All boy dads. So you're a dad, you have a house full of boys. How do you handle all that testosterone as they age? What's some other groups? Some messy co-parenting, man, and it's in to throw shade or so we're not going to use names, especially if the other people would be offended by that. But some messy co-parenting situations. How do you navigate through that? On the flip side of that, I'd love to hear the stories of good co-parenting, and I can probably chime in on that one too. But definitely co-parenting. Anybody that's filling the role of a father, not by choice, and I don't mean by choice by you're forced into it, but I'm saying this is not your biological son. You're an aunt, you're an uncle, you're a grandparent, you're a friend of the family. I want to hear your story and what that's like. And when I say I hope there's other people out there that are interested in these things, foster parents, adopted parents, or if you're adopted, however you want, everything is there's a good, bad, and you being the father or you talking about your father. I'm definitely interested in hearing about people with fathers that's maybe passed away. And, if you're struggling with that, I would love to give you the platform to just talk and share the good, uh, share what keeps you up at night, share the memories. I'm telling you, there's a community for this. I don't know if I said incarcerated, but if you can link me up with dad or somebody's husband or ex-husband or however it may be, your son is himself is in jail, not to use his situation for anything, any kind of entertainment, but just to if you can write letters there, it's something we can message back and forth. I would love to hear how that affects them. I mean, that affects everybody at home, obviously the kids as well. But what is like being a dad from jail? Um, Dads that have demanding jobs, like you work all the time. You're out of state. You're out of town. Yet you're doing it for your family. But how do you navigate missing things? What's that like to you? What's it like to your kids, your wife? What are the obstacles that the family goes through with those type of roles? What else? And I have a list of a million. I'm trying not to use my list. Absent fathers. That's a big one for me. I want to talk to the family of the that's going without the father. That either if you're my age and you don't have no connection with any connection with your father, or maybe if you're bold enough, you are the absent father, and you understand that, and you know that you messed up, but maybe now you're absent because you don't feel worthy enough. And so I would love to have somebody like that on, just come and share their story. And gonna be honest with you, there's a lot of you out there that I personally have on social media. So I mean, I know they're out there, and that's something I really want to tap into. I think there's I don't know statistics. I'm not out here to quote all that, but homes without fathers are very common, and everybody, moms and families raising children without men in the homes, they do a great job, but nothing replaces that. Nothing replaces that. And so I would love to just kind of bridge that gap and see what we can do to figure out how do you bring fathers back into the lives of their children, after they've been gone for a long time. Isn't an option. Maybe your dad that's been in a nasty court battle or some type of legal system, and you're not. Let me rephrase this. I'm too fresh to be getting canceled. You're just getting screwed by the court system or by the mother of the child. Maybe you're trying every which way, but you're having to jump through a lot of hurdles. I love to hear your stories and what you do to stay focused. Again, gonna keep the names out. We won't throw dirt on anybody, but unfortunately, these situations occur, and we know every situation I've named on here, every criteria of a dad I'm looking for. We all know somebody that can check a box like that. So that's why I'm saying I'm open to talking to anybody. And maybe your life's just normal. Maybe you're a husband and wife, and you have two biological kids, and you work 9 to 5. You come home, you do dinner. Like, hey, awesome. Because I'll guarantee you, there's a lot of people that love to hear what that's like because it's not common. I would definitely love, and I think I have a youth pastor already lined up, but I would definitely love to hear talk to some pastors um, that are fathers, and just, man, what's that like? What's that like? You're held obviously to a higher standard, as God's holding us to His own kind of structure for us. But what's that like navigating that with your younger kids and your teenagers as they get older? And you know, I would love to think it's all cookie cutter, but I don't think it's that way. And so, if you're a pastor out there that'd be interested in sharing your story, I would love to hear how you navigate fatherhood, um, and the struggles of that. Again, it's a small community, so I'm asking you to be open and honest with me, and people in the community are going to hear about it. Uh, but I definitely want those stories. Coaches, I mean, I know a lot of great coaches around here, surrounding counties, and you know, most great coaches, it becomes a lifestyle. And so, how do you navigate a season? How do you father? How do you parent? What's it like living those roles through a season? Love to sit down and talk and hear what that's like. What else do I have? As I grow, I would love to give an opportunity to, and I don't know if it would be a face to face thing, but I love to get an opportunity to reunite. I want to say families, but I guess that's what it is. Yeah, if you're a child and you're missing out on your father, or you're a father and your child's resistant to give you back, let you back in their life. Maybe I can mediate through that. And I'm not a mediator. I'm not a counselor. I'm not any kind of, no credentials for anything like that. So everything is going to be opinion based off of me, in the person on the show. And I'll probably make that known every show. But I would love to just bring folks together. I think it's awesome. Something I'm going to have to work through at some point. And as I get into the next episodes 1 through 4, I'm just going to break down my life. Now, I don't want to talk about me all the time. That would get boring. But I can't expect people to come on here or people to share things with me that are raw and emotional, and me not have provided that up front. Maybe you don't know the details of me, or you know me now at 36. You don't know what I was at 5 or 10 or 17 or 21. So the first few episodes, I'm really going to kind of open up, and this is where I think it'll be good for me. I hope somebody else can get something from it, but I'm really going to open up and share my story, and some kind of gonna break it into episodes, just because if I do it all at one time, I will ramble and I'll go back and forth, and it's just not going to go well. So yeah, the first 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes may just be me breaking down my life of what got me to here and why this is important to me. And I think once I share my story the way I'm going to, I think as guests, I think once I share my story the way that I want to hear other people share theirs, I think I give a good kind of bridge into how they can share their feedback with me. It kind of sets the standard for what I want, or not what I want, but just what's going to bring value. And at some point, I'll talk about it in my episodes, but at some point, I'd love to have my dad, my biological dad, on here. I don't know if that would be a face to face or if that would be remote. Don't know how to do that. My dad is, so without going into my life, it's been different. And you're probably going to see this because you are on my Facebook. There's not much interaction, but I want you to know that as I'm navigating the show, that I would hope that you would comply and just be want to sit down and talk with me as men, and help others that have kind of lived lives that we lived. And I think that, I don't want to say you owe me anything or I owe you anything, but I think we could help a lot of people, and that's awesome. That's the major thing, is helping people that would struggle in situations that we've been in. And I also want to pay homage to the great men that's been in my life, and I'll list them. There's a few I'm excited to talk about. There's a few I'm excited to get on here, and and those will be good. Those will be good moments. I'm excited to get my oldest son on here. I think we're going to have some awesome conversations, some hard conversations too. But I think it's going to be great just getting to to do that. I think there's going to be a lot of people shocked to actually uh, kind of, especially if you don't know the earlier me. Like I think I'd be really shocked at the life that has pushed me here, and well, really I'll consider them blessings now, but they did not feel that way at the time. So I'm excited to share that story. And as far as the criteria goes, if I miss something, listen, I think I almost got all the social medias up. Just create a TikTok. I have no idea how to use it. I don't have a personal one. So the podcast will have a TikTok. There's a Reddit page, a Facebook page, Instagram page. I'm setting up a YouTube channel. Obviously, the Apple podcast and Spotify podcast. Can I be on those? I don't think I'm going to do too well on those. To be honest with you, I think that this is going to drive mainly a audience that likes to see the visual interaction, and that's what I would want. But obviously, as a podcast, I'm going to throw that on there. Um, so I am probably going to bombard your social medias. I'm not trying to be pushy, but I do want to make this project be something that I can lift off successfully, and I'm okay with slow growth. I'm okay with it going slow. I just ask for some support. Like what you can like, love it, heart it, share it, comment, try to comment back with everybody, and I feel like I've had a lot of great positive feedback, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is a good idea." Well, now I'm going to turn around and be like, "Hey, if you think this is a good idea, then come participate." And I'll promise you, as if you decide to sit down and talk with me face to face or through the remote studio option, um, I'll let you review the episode before it releases. If there's things you want to cut out, we can cut them out. Um, I'm gonna, we'll kind of come up with a criteria and baselines, obviously, with each person I talk to. So there'll be kind of some checks and balances. I'm not just gonna go rogue and release 20 minutes of you bawling your eyes out and um, you know, saying you hate your baby mama or whatever it may be. I'm definitely cutting this out. This is not making it cut. I was doing so good. Okay, no, but what I mean is, I'm not gonna just if you've said something that maybe afterwards, I don't know, I want to take that back. I'm too new to be getting caught up in some legal stuff, so I will gladly remove it. I will scrap episodes. I will trash it. I don't think I'm gonna get to that point, but I think if you come on here and you're open and honest with me and we share those moments, I think you walk away feeling better. I walk away feeling better. Um, I think the community that we're gonna build is gonna be awesome. I think people are gonna see us from totally different lights. And so when I say fatherhood, it's obviously a deeper dive into fatherhood. I want to have real conversations, and that's kind of where the name originated from. Um, but I'm not going to narrow myself to that. So if you're just somebody that has a story, an interesting story, a life story, or you've been through the ringer and you come out on top, I want to hear about it. I don't care if you're a man or woman. I just want to hear these stories, what you can expect in the upcoming. There's probably going to be a little bit of delay as I get these next few episodes up. I'm going to get mine out of the way and to start creating a list of people to interview. And so when I start in that process, I want to build like the first 10 episodes, just to give myself a buffer. Do encourage you to take posts and social media feedback with me. Sometimes it'll just be a poll question. It's not a waste. I want to capture that data, very analytical mind, just kind of see what it looks like. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. Hey, Reddit's actually been awesome. There's people I don't even know that's already talked. I want to be on the show, so that's gonna be cool. The YouTube will come. I'm gonna post the episodes on YouTube. I would love to have a following there. I don't know if it's gonna happen. And then the both Apple and Spotify podcast platforms. So I will. Could say something cool. Like I'll put a link to those here. I don't know if I will do that or not. Um, but I will make sure I post on each platform. Will post with the handle, whatever that is. Oh, there's also a Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So that will be another place that I want to interact. So please go follow me, go follow the show. I don't have a personal Twitter or anything like that, but it'll be Fatherhood Pod or Fatherhood Podcast. That'll be how everything's broken out. Criteria wise, also, if you you're a father, maybe you have disabilities, physical, mental, and also if you have physically impaired or mentally impaired children, I would love to hear about that. I think there's so many people. I think there's just so many people that can benefit from this, and so I'm blessed that I've been put in a situation to where I can finally have some confidence and move forward. And I said earlier on, I don't know if this is a faith-based feeling, like God sending me down this path, but it feels like it. So I think I'm gonna try it, and if it's Michael Horn driven, it'll fail. If it's driven by me, it'll fail. If it's driven by God, it'll definitely be successful. Now, what does success look like? I don't know. I think success is just going to be measured by the value that we can help each other work through things and the turnover of just good conversation. Obviously, yeah, I always have mentioned God a few times in this that so my faith is definitely going to be something I talk about here. It's not something we have to dip into in every episode. It is about fatherhood. So, you get to steer the ship. I'm excited to talk to everybody in the future. And if you have any questions, please reach out. There's an email, fartherhoodpod@gmail.com. You can message me privately on Facebook, comment in my post on my personal page or the podcast page. I'm excited to get going. I'm excited to share my story. I just ask that you stay patient, engaged. I'll do my best to make it engaging. But I'm going to take a shot at this platform, and I hope everybody gives me a chance. If you have 5% of you, 2% of you views interested in talking to me, please just message me so I know you're on the radar. And then I can kind of I'll send you my personal number and kind of shoot you what are some topics of areas you'd like to talk through and just take a chance at it. Scheduling doesn't have to be always, we don't have to be face to face. I would love that. Um, but this software has the option to just shoot a link over to you. You pop right in there. You have your AirPods in, and obviously on camp. That is something I want to say. I do want to film these episodes. If you're opposed to that, that's fine. We have the listener letters. There's some folks in mind I have in mind, and this is not all men driven. So understand that you're a mom or somebody, or you're just somebody like you can talk about dads. If you have a dad, if you don't have a dad, if you are the dad, if you're not the dad, like, whoever you are, fatherhood affects us somehow, some way. And so really I should have a overflow of people to interview. Um, Take a chance on me, take a chance on the show. I will see you soon on episode 1, where we start learning a little bit about me in the early stages of life. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a hard one for me. My episodes are going to be very hard for me, especially my earlier, man, especially my earlier ones. It's going to be tough. So if you made it this far, I want you to go to the Facebook of Fatherhood Pod, and I want you to think back in your life. This isn't even father related, but if you're listening to me right now, I challenge you just one thing: just go comment on the show, just as a post on there. What is your earliest memory? All right, stay tuned. Episode 1 coming up. I will see you on episode 1. Peace. Don't do peace. Till next time.